The graduation address gives us the opportunity to hear from a distinguished member of our alumni community. And we're fortunate today that the address will be delivered by Ms. Sarah McCann-Barlett. Ms. McCann-Barlett is a highly experienced leader of professional and industry bodies and is currently the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of the Australian Human Resources Institute. In her role, she focuses on supporting members and the broader human resources profession with practical advice, policy development, and research on emerging issues, including employee well-being, post-pandemic skills development, and the future of work. Previous positions include senior appointments with the British Constructional Steelworks Association and the Building and Plumbing Industry Commission, where she was instrumental in delivering regulations, including the introduction of the 5-star environmental standard and the approval of the first bushfire bunker design in Australia. Ms. McCann-Barlett holds undergraduate degrees from the University of Melbourne and a Master of Business Administration from Monash University. It now gives me great pleasure in inviting Ms. Sarah McCann-Barlett to deliver the graduation address.
I'd like to begin today by acknowledging the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional custodians on the land where we meet today. I pay my respects to elders, both past and present, as it's their knowledge and experiences that guide future generations. Deputy Chancellor, the Honourable Simon Crean, Provo and Senior Vice President, Professor Susan Elliott, Senior Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economics, Professor Michelle Walsh, members of faculty, new graduates, and friends. What a pleasure it is to be here today in a room full of people looking towards the future, looking to your future. How wonderful, what opportunity. Opportunity for what though? Often graduation speeches exhort graduates onto greatness, particularly if the speakers achieved a bit of greatness themselves. They might tell you that if you strive or work hard enough, you can really make a difference by becoming a preeminent expert in your chosen field, achieving a scientific breakthrough, making a 30 under 30 list. Now, was there ever anything so unattainable to those of us over 30? Or becoming the founder of the next big tech or biotech startup. And while Monash University, also my alma mater, has produced plenty of these over the years, in reality, most of us graduates of this fantastic institution won't go on to achieve quite so fantastic heights. So is it time to pack it all in, just as you're getting started? Or are we resigning ourselves to not making a difference? No, absolutely not. What we do need to do, though, is we need to reframe what it means to make a difference and to be a leader. Given where the world is today, I'm compelled to speak about the horrific situation in Ukraine. Despite having majored in international politics, I'm not going to talk about geopolitics. Instead, I want to continue on this theme of leadership and making a difference. When we think about leadership in the context of the Russian invasion of and war on Ukraine, of course our minds go to Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukraine's brave and inspirational president, who's galvanized his nation and inspired and impressed the rest of the world. However, when we think about leadership and making a difference in a broader context, you could choose any of those ordinary Ukrainians who are so bravely staying to protect and defend their country, taking a perilous journey from a safe haven back into Ukraine to fight or help their fellow citizens, making mammoth efforts to keep children, the sick and the elderly safe, or reporting from a war zone to make sure we all understand the atrocities that are happening on the ground. And there are others, ordinary Russians defying their government at great risk to themselves and their families, citizens of Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Hungary, and other European countries who are actively helping, supporting, and taking in Ukrainian refugees. And of course, those of us undertaking fundraising and those who are foregoing something to donate. Earlier this month, my organisation, the Australian HR Institute, hosted a fantastic International Women's Day event where content creator and author Holly Ransom spoke and facilitated a panel of women HR leaders. Holly's overarching belief is that if you walk past it, you're telling the world that it's okay. She's recently written her first book, The Leading Edge, and at our event, she spoke about it and what she calls distributed leadership. Holly's a strong proponent of stepping up and leading in every aspect of your life. She believes that centralised leadership, the concept of one person having all the answers and solving all the problems, is outdated and a recipe for failure. So instead, she exhorts us to all be leaders, and in her words, be the change we want to see. I once worked with someone who told me that one of her life objectives was to leave people better than when she found them. What a concept. Leaving someone better in some way than they were before. While she wasn't fated as an industry leader, she didn't appear on talk shows, she hadn't written a book, she really did make a difference. So what did that look like in the workplace? Well, she acknowledged everybody's contribution. She was thoughtful and curious when responding to their ideas. She helped them develop their ideas or work further, or she brought in others who could. And she showed interest in them as a person. This determination of hers improved both our workplace and our business outcomes. We were more creative because people weren't afraid of putting themselves out there. They knew their ideas would be considered and discussed respectfully, and that if it was a goer, she'd help find someone who'd progress it. She also influenced others in the business to adopt the same approach because they could see what a difference it was making. Are some of you wondering why I'm telling you this? Many of you, in fact, hundreds of you, are going to become managers and leaders during your career. And these examples are demonstrations of what leadership looks like today. I was asked by a journalist last week whether I thought that leadership styles had changed. And my answer to her question was a resounding yes. Before COVID, we were already moving away from a directive style of leadership to one that provided coaching, learning, as well as autonomy to employees. Having said that, when COVID hit, I came across many managers and leaders who were incredibly concerned because they wouldn't be able to see their employees sitting at their desks working. That was how they'd been managing. They'd been focusing on inputs. Well, we all know how the shift to working from home panned out. It was great. Productivity went up. Employees' digital skills strengthened across the board. We all learned about being flexible, resilient, creative. And employers started focusing on employee well-being and mental health. Of course, there were many challenges. The dreaded homeschooling, a higher rate of anxiety, frontline workers who bravely left their homes to deliver essential services to all of us. As our physical workplaces start to open up again, one thing I can tell you is they won't be the same as they were before. Workplaces will continue to be more flexible, and employees will have more say in how they do their jobs. Organisational cultures will be more constructive and drive inclusiveness and belonging. And employees, all of you, will be celebrated for your individual differences and strengths. We've had a taste of how it can be, and we can't go back now. We can't lose this momentum, this opportunity. Not if we want to embrace a better concept of leadership, if we want to make a difference. There's still a long way to go, but I'm optimistic for the future, for your future. Before I close, I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of you for achieving this significant milestone in your lives and in your academic careers. I know it didn't come easily, and for at least 2 of those years, you were working under incredibly difficult circumstances. I definitely think it's worth taking some time to reflect on your success and how you got to where you are today. And also to thank your family and friends for their support, their listening, for encouraging you, and possibly for doing some of those chores you didn't have time to do. And I want to ask you, as you celebrate this milestone, to just think for a minute, to ask yourselves, how am I going to start or continue my leadership journey right now? How might I make my difference? Congratulations again. I wish every one of you a rich and interesting journey and all the very best.
Thank you, Sarah, for that inspiring address and bringing your reflection as an alumni of this organisation to the newly set of alumni gathered in this hall, particularly the importance of inclusion and of reflection. And we thank you again, wish you well in your continuing career and your advice.